You can't kill my confidence, you can't gon' give a fuck, that's what they do. You can't kill my confidence, you can't gon' give a fuck, that's what they do. You can't kill my confidence, you can't gon' give a fuck, that's what they tell me. All the fucks I ever gave on,
Hello, chat. What's up? What's happening? Have a good stream, everyone. You're going to see Mark Chestnut. Isn't that the guy who eats all the hot dogs? Isn't it the hot dog eating guy? You're leaving us to go watch a guy eat hot dogs? What's going on? What's happening, chat? What's happening? Dude, this is a topic that people kept asking, and then I kept... That's Joey Chestnut. Okay. Well, you know, that's a reasonable thing, okay? There, let me start a chapter marker for the pre-stream talk. What's happening, guys? I told you to cover it forever. Yeah, but I got sleepy, okay? Excuse me. I mean, honestly, I feel like I've experienced it through like a haze. Have you guys ever like watched a movie like high or drunk or something, but like past the point of no return where like big swaths of it are just like a black void in your mind? That's kind of what my experience was last time I streamed about this. I honestly, it feels like I've like there's parts of my brain that are just missing, dude. I need to fix this, dude. I fucking fucked everything up. Ugh. But yeah, man. No one is forcing you to do this, so I can't feel bad for you. Fauci kept asking. He was negging, really, you know? He was negging, really. But yeah, man, I basically was just falling asleep last time I covered this, and I didn't have the energy in it. Okay, so I should tell you guys, I did a quartering stream like a while ago, and you should watch it if you haven't. But one of the things that happened is that I got the quarterings drink book. And so, by the way, like, it's like two, I've had two customer service problems recently, okay? You definitely,
see your paws, Pappy?
you
Wow.
definitely don't want to see that. But I was doing two things, right? So I had to go on PayPal, find where I purchased the object, and then go through the PayPal like chargeback rigmarole, which was really fucking annoying. So PayPal's system now, if you have a business account, doesn't let you do chargebacks normal style. You have like a different back end if you have a PayPal business account, which I have a PayPal business account, right? Because when you guys donate to the thing that gives me 90% of my revenue, which only like one of you does, but like if when you do, it goes to a PayPal backend that's business focused. And it's very difficult to do chargebacks on a PayPal business account. So I had to like talk to PayPal ChatGPT. I had to talk to PayPal AI. And by the way, PayPal AI asked no questions. No questions asked, approved my chargeback. It opened up a case without me providing any evidence for my case, but it was like, we'll make sure that, you know, your purchase is effective, right? Or that I get like reimbursed. So PayPal AI apparently is saying that I'm going to be reimbursed. I have like a case open, and I have a feeling that the company that facilitated the production of the quarterings books is never going to get back to me. So I'm just going to win the case by default. I don't think they're going to fight it, and they're just going to take the hit and take the money back. Because I was looking at my order number from the quarterings bullshit, and basically what it showed is that he's had over like 14,000 orders. So I'm not particularly worried about getting my money back. That's going to be fine. Alternatively, eBay wants you to provide all the information in the world. So I had like switched my eBay accounts at some point. I forget for what reason, but I did. And I had left. Did you know that if you make a listing on eBay and then just never fucking check it, eBay never takes it down? It never goes into sleep mode, right? It never takes the listing down saying you went to sleep, right? And And that's basically what had happened. I don't know if any of you like resell clothes on Depop or you're interested in that, but Depop does that. Depop has that where if you don't use the app for like a long time, it basically shutters your store and nobody can purchase anything from it, which is a really good feature. eBay doesn't have that feature. So I had a purchase from like somebody made a purchase and I saw they made it and I went, oh, I could use the money. Let me fulfill their order. And I go to fulfill it and I ship their order and it was a Gundam. I shipped a Gundam. I shipped a P Bandai Gundam to them. Okay, it was a $60 Gundam. $60 P Bandai Gundam that you can't get anymore. And I shipped it to them. And then they asked eBay for a refund after I shipped it. And I was pissed. So I did open up a counter case with eBay and they denied it. By the way, they denied it. And then after denying it, I was like, okay, well, they said contact the buyer. So I contact the buyer. Guess who doesn't ever get back to me? The buyer. So now I'm out $60 and a P Bandai Gundam. I'll pull up the Gundam that I sold, by the way. Here. It's not a particularly hard to find one. I actually own 2 of these, one of which I sent to the guy who I'm probably never going to get it back. I will contact him again during a weekday, but we will see. So this is what I sent to the guy, an RX-78 PR ambassador of the Japan Pavilion from the 2020 Expo in Dubai. For those of you that don't know, I collect like every single variant of the RX-78. I haven't built this one, but I had accidentally purchased 2 of them. So I put one on sale on eBay, and now I have to go through this rigmarole to try and get it back. We are doing Birdie. I just wanted to complain about this. You know, I feel like the RX-78 is like a classic Ferrari, okay? Like its design is so beautiful. And so I really love the colors on this one. And I love the accents with the stickers that represent Japan. So it is the best. Not to, I feel like it's almost like saying you like vanilla ice cream, but it is the best design. The only thing that is as good as it is a Zaku 2, okay? The Zaku 2 and RX-78 are the best Gundam designs. And there's nothing that ever gets close to those 2, okay? Which is why I love collecting the variants for each of them, because it's interesting on how they redesign it. But yeah, man, it's got McDonald's colors. There is a McDonald's version of this, and there's a 7-Eleven version of it. I don't have the 7-Eleven version. I have the Gundam-based Japan one, and I have a P Bandai clear color one. And fuck, I forget the one that's purple and white, but I'm sure one of the autists is knows what that purple and white one is.
7 months of membership. So you're saying Gundam peaked very early?
No, there's a lot of okay, the model designs and the mecha designs are 2 different things. I know Lio Convoy would probably have a lot of things to say about this. But it depends. I like the designs of the mecha and Iron Blood and Orphans in the anime, but if you've ever built an IBO Gunpla kit, you know that those kits are not good. The hinges and joints on those kits are very bad, and I often find them difficult to pose and maintain themselves. What do I have that I think is like peak still? Hold on. We'll get to the birdie topic in a second, but I need to have some like, you know, social rapport here outside of just delivering slop into your fucking face. Okay. One Gundam design that I think is also very peak is a unicorn Gundam, but when it's like the mono fin, so like when it's actually in the unicorn form and it's like pure white, that whole like monochrome color scheming is I really like that personally. It's just it's one of those ones that like it conveys so much with so little that I really like it. I thought about panel lining it, but it's just I wouldn't want to ruin such a chic white aesthetic. I do like the designs in G-Quux. I will probably pick up some of the Zaku 2 redesigns. I think the police Zaku looks very good. I'm gonna wait for prices to drop because they tend to sell out. They're selling out very quickly right now. And I am not buying kits right now for a particularly secret reason. I'm not buying any model kits of anything right now. But we will know soon. I do not have a confirmation on my secret. But there is a secret.
You gotta get into Battletech. I'll bully my husband into teaching you. I might even try to learn it if you do.
You know what's been turning me off of Battletech is it's two things. I'm not really, the mech designs are okay in that. If none of you know what Battletech is, hold on. The thing with Battletech is that everything is kind of like, imagine if they just turned a Ford F-150 into a robot. And that's kind of like it's much more utilitarian designing, right? I feel for me miniatures are like a big reason I'd get into something, and I just these aren't very dynamic miniatures. Either that or nobody paints them good. So maybe I could paint one of these guys a lot better. I would just need to, I'd need, like, there's just so much that kind of turns me off with them. It's not even like the gameplay of it, but they're just, there needs to be some more dynamism with them, right? If you guys ever look at, and I am going to do a miniature stream on Mana Potion Tabletop in the coming week, by the way. If you look at like a 40k Primaris, if you look at it like a 40k Primaris miniature, right? This is a Primaris Lieutenant. You can see that there's a lot of like, it's a monopose model, so it only looks one way. But there's like movement there. You can see that he's like jumping up to attack, right? Wade Diesel, opinions on Jagans right now. I like them. I have a master grade sitting on a shelf, right out of view. But, you know, there's a lot of movement and momentum in these miniatures that kind of drag me to them and inspire me as like a painter. Hold on. I'll show you one more. Corvus Belli. These guys kind of came onto the scene recently, and their miniatures have been honestly kind of cooking. Also, whoever they have painting these things is like a fucking absolute G of a person. I do want to get into this game, Infinity. It's like a spacefaring skirmish shooter, right? And I really, really like that they have these like futuristic, like anime inspired and true scale models, which is really cool, right? Because 40K is heroic, so the guns are bigger and pauldrons are gonna be huge. But here, that's not the case. They're also metal, by the way. They're also metal miniatures, which is really rare. You just don't get a lot of metal miniatures anymore. And I really, really like that. That's a paint scheme some guy did. That's really good. But I think it's white metal, or it's not pewter because pewter breaks too easily. But they're decently strong metal miniatures. I'm getting a notification. All right. Yeah, no, nothing to worry about. But yeah. There's a few other ones actually. Hold on, I'll show one more. Since we were talking about mecha, some of you might not know what War Machine is. And I'm not talking about the guy from Marvel. Oh my god. Miniatures, War Machine miniatures. So like we talk about like how BattleTech has like a very utilitarian design, and like Gundam kind of bleeds into that like anime like fighting samurai thing, right? And Armored Core, I feel Armored Core kind of like blends between like a anime fighter and like the utilitarian design, and it lands somewhere in the middle where it turns into a fighter jet somehow. Which is why I really like Armored Core's mecha design. Now, if we're talking fantasy mecha, there's War Machine, which are like these big hulking weird mechs that are steampunk and all that shit, right? And I really like this. This is another miniatures war game that's not 40K, and I really like what they have going here. I don't know. It has that big chunky style that you get with like World of Warcraft. I need someone to feel the weird things I feel. Nobody. Falgi after watching Witch from Mercury and looking at the Gundam. But yeah, War Machine's also really sick. I love the whole like big weird steampunk robot shit that they have going on. I feel like I'm being lectured by a college professor. This couldn't be the more this is how nerdy I am in real life, okay? You guys don't understand. Do you think first of all, some drama tubers get off of stream and then watch more drama in the privacy of their own VCs? I, on the other hand, sit around and talk autistically about toys. Okay? Like I've been painting a Grimnir for my Votan army recently. I was talking what the hell? I was talking with Oz Media. We were chatting a little bit about what we've been painting recently. And it had just been cool just to, you know, compare notes. My army is orange and red, by the way. That's a really, really great time. By that I mean very horrible to paint. But I have some really good speed paints that are great. Yeah, I'm glad I have interest outside of drama, because I think I might actually kill myself otherwise. I think I would be mentally deranged. Why aren't you just talking about art stuff instead of Birdie? I'm gonna save that for when I stream on Mana Potion Tabletop. Okay, which if one of the mods wants to link that channel, there's going to be a video on Mana Potion Tabletop this week. And that is not a lie. What am I reviewing? This is an ugly Gundam. This is an ugly Gundam. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh my gosh. There's too many like spikes on it.
Blue Yokai celebrates 25 months of membership. Boss works out to protect his nerd lunch money.
That's true. As the factual and true. Okay. Anyway, there's gonna be a video on there this week from me, and I will be streaming my miniature painting on there sometime this week. Anyway, enough of the pre-stream chatter. Listen.
Rocky BB celebrates 21 months of membership. Pappy, where's my watermelon?
I'm kind of like, I gotta look. It'll happen. It'll happen. We haven't uploaded to MPT in a while, but it's technically in my contract to be uploading on that channel, so I will get to it. Malcolm, you're sending your viewers into a stream that I don't think anybody is ready for. I don't know why you're all here. Are you not worried? Are you not afraid? What up, guys? How are you doing? Do you have a good stream? Do you have a good stream? Because you're about to have a bad one. I'm always worried. He was just streaming about Lio. It's a perfect to rate here. Oh, yeah, true. To be honest, though, I have been talking about fucking miniatures for the past 30 minutes instead of actually getting onto the topic. I'm kind of avoiding it, you know? The mamacitas are here. Is that what Malcolm calls his audience? I don't know if that's true, but I'm just going to take it as true based. Yes. Oh my god. Not sponsored beverage I'm drinking. They don't get free advertising. This is a nondescript beverage I'm drinking. Anyway, we were getting into the Birdie stuff. Basically, what happened is that we went over... Hold on, I'm doing my best to remember. What are you drinking out of? Oh, I'm in memory of Too Mad. I'm drinking out of the Too Mad G-Subs cup. That is Too Mad with breast.
Oshi keeps saying, watermelon emoji, next week. And it's a lie. Why you keep lying to me? Why you do this? Sad face emoji.
I'm not lying. I'm just delaying the inevitable. You know, there's only 3 things in life that are going to happen. Taxes, death, and the watermelon stream. Okay, I'm just putting it off. I'm filing an extension on watermelon stream. So, yeah, basically we learned about Birdie being like this dysfunctional babby and how they were harassing and stalking random people in the animation meme community. And I do believe we had just gotten to the ferret thing. And the only thing I had known is that Birdie, like, fucked their ferret, question mark.
A name he kept for quite a while, actually. Birdie would get...
We'll go back to the beginning of this section. But yeah, this was basically just like cataloging Birdie's history. And yeah, okay. So during the things from last stream that we went over, it was basically like Birdie becoming a schizo stalker in their youth. And also saying that they needed to be online on Discord or they'd kill themselves to their parents, who are apparently maybe or maybe not abusive. Apparently Birdie's parents like collected foreskin pictures or something. I know that this is all being filtered through the mind of a man who had like slept 3 hours a while ago. Thank you for the leet money, Ness. Very poggies. They did what?
But this was beyond a toxic relationship. Look no further than the private comic that Birdie made about Heimguts, titled IDMT, or I Dropped My Tortilla. This is unironically a comic about Birdie asking the devil to get Heimguts to love him. The plot details everything from breaking into Heim's house and essaying him, to failing to drug him with a love potion and him again, getting
Oh boy, this needs a chaser, doesn't it? Okay. This is a question that I don't think Toastify ever answers, but what does this love potion rape comic have anything to do with like tortillas? Where does Mexican food enter the equation? You know what I mean? Like I know that that's not the point, but you know, I feel like things should be named things. Hey Diesel, would you consider the RX-78-2 your ideal gilf? That's drummer. That's a chat. Birdie is Mexican. Oh, okay. Diesel, the biggest thing you need to know is Birdie has an obsessive relationships with people his age, older and younger, and they are obsessed with SA and torture. Okay. You know, I said this when I streamed about this last time, is that back in the day, people used to be serial killers, but these days they just complain on Discord. Like, I'm not approving of serial murderers. I'm just saying that they had more aura, you know? Like, it not in the current day, but like 40 years from now, people are like, Ted Bundy, that guy's interesting. You know? Cool, even, you know?
jailed for it this time. The story ends with Birdie breaking out and kidnapping Heimguts, putting him in a secret underground room for weeks, and then putting drugs in his food that make him pass out so he could him for as long as he wants. As dark and almost absurd as this was, it appears to be an expression of real feelings from Birdie, as per a timeline he made of his opinion of Heimguts. See that the lines constantly switch back and forth between wants dead and wants to /kidnap/stalk, but is limited. Now obviously these are ideas that no
like having a graph of whether or not you wanted to stalk or kill someone, it's just like that would be in a Netflix true crime documentary talked about in a dark room that they rented out for the afternoon, you know? But these days it's a Toastify video. No offense to Toastify.
normal child of Birdie's age.
What is this emoji, Diesel? Oh, it's ooh, husband, you spent too much money and now we are homeless. That's what it is. Except it's me.
Having, and it's perhaps no surprise that outside factors impacted this. For 2 months in 2018, Birdie was groomed by a man in his late 20s who went under the name of Maddie. They initially met due to claim that they had information on Toxici, and from then on entered a pretty terrible relationship. Another man in their 20s by the name of Garbage also made a huge impact and encouraged Birdie to be as degenerate as they wanted. This culminated in probably Birdie's most infamous incident to date. After waiting until his family were out of the house, he attempted to his pet ferret Chara. Chara was a pet that Birdie's family had received when she was only 1 year old, and had quickly become Birdie's most treasured pet. He would make accounts with Chara's name and drew it as a character in his videos, which makes
Look at us, we're not producing any Hannibal Lecters. It's Birdie's all the way down. Oh my god.
this event all the more worse. It's worth noting that whilst this event with Chara has become infamous for those who have only dug a little into Birdie's history, there were heavy outside influences, and there are bad things.
I'm not taking my jacket out. It is too big.
Birdie has done to his ferret that he's much more responsible for. IDMT was not the only indication of a seriously deranged obsession that Birdie had with Heimguts. Over the months, as there were more breakups, Birdie began to reach cartoonish stalker levels. For a decent while, he had a shrine dedicated to Heimguts in his bedroom, with its centerpiece being a printed picture of Heim's face that he taped to the wall and talked to every day. Birdie also sewed several plushies of Heimguts characters to cuddle with, and aspired to one day—
You know, that's not even, you know, yeah, I can count on like 2 times that there's been a shrine dedicated to me. One time was definitely a joke. The other time, I don't know about that.
fuse them with Haim's saliva or blood. There were plenty of dreams that Birdie had about Heimguts, including various fantasies about SA, but he also had a folder about Heimguts on his laptop, consisting of 2,000 plus items, like pictures of Heimguts and DMs they had together. Birdie also doxed Haim to others, knew what he was doing was disgusting and sometimes relished in it, and actively manipulated the situation to his advantage. Whenever Heimguts would get a glimpse of his psychotic machinations, and obviously broke up, being freaked out, Birdie admitted that he would use his friends to manipulate Haim into saying that he's changed, almost like lulling him into a false sense of security. This got to the point that the two almost met each other during Thanksgiving, but thankfully that fell apart. Birdie's world had become solely attached to the internet and the people on there, even if they had terrible intentions in their minds, and his attachment would be proven in a stream to YouTube on July 30th, 2018. During the late hours, Birdie was streaming
like an Arnold shrine. Like an Arnold shrine, yeah.
and going well past his bedtime.
Is there a fruit goal today? I never managed to catch you live, so if there is, I guess here is to the fruit.
Technically, I decided to pull a debate today, and if we hit our goal today, I turn off the stream.
Dad noticed this, came in and told him to turn off the computer. Birdie refused, and his dad threatened to turn off the internet for the night if he didn't go to sleep.
Well, maybe if I had my computer in my room.
That's not gonna happen, and we could still hear you upstairs.
Well, can you, like, not come in here because you're gonna cause drama?
You can be on if you're talking during the day, but not at night. It's 3 in the morning now.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it says you pass out on stream. It says nothing about you ending
Dad,
it.
stop! You're gonna make-
Chat, stop! You're gonna make people hate me. Chat, stop! Stop! You can't tell me what I can and can't turn off stream.
Someone hate me!
Well, it would be fine because it will be on the internet at all directions.
If you cut off the internet, I'm gonna myself. You know that.
If you cut off the internet, I'm gonna kill myself is outrageous. Dude, I am of the belief that COVID one-shotted so much of the population, okay? Like, literally, I need to do a stream on it on one of those days that we're just kind of, like, chilling. But I want, like, have you guys seen all these Gemini ads? It's like, Gemini, what does my son like for breakfast? And then Gemini is like, oh, he likes it when you make pancakes with silly faces. Well, how are you a father? I'm sorry. This was was this pre-COVID? Damn.
In present time, Birdie has gone on to provide more context for this, saying that he believed his dad was going to turn off the internet forever, not just—
This is pre-COVID. Much like what I said in prior streams about looking at life through a pre and post 9/11 world, it's the same thing for COVID.
for the night, and that affected him because his whole life was on the internet. But as others saw this, it was a direct confirmation that Birdie would threaten his life just to get what he wanted, and his behaviour since then wouldn't help, especially when it came to the incident that ultimately destroyed his positive relationship with Heimguts. According to sources who are more biased towards Haim, Birdie was in their friend group chat with Haim, Dodgedust and a few others, and expressing intentions to end it all. The others tried to help him, but he went quiet and stopped saying anything, so everyone just left. If he wasn't engaged—
Me bringing up Birdie in my Philosophy 101 class. Are people born evil or are they nurtured to be evil? Debate. And then I put this video on and everybody's like, I think this is outside the realm of this class.
with it, he was probably baiting for something. Birdie then posted a vent apparently painting everyone in the group chat as just evil, and it completely tore the group chat apart.
I only get one, and it's the same one over and over. The one where it says a garbage truck is a convertible, but Gemini corrects them. I need to put together a playlist of all the AI ads and react to them. Wait, you had your class watch this video? No, I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke. Not everything is literal. I teach film. I teach film. Could you imagine if I taught an ethics class? Today class, we're going to talk about why it's good for sometimes that people get hurt. Yeah, listen, ethically, it might not be the best thing, but I'm the professor here. I get to say that sometimes it's not bad when bad things happen.
In response to this, Doge just raided Birdie's Discord server, before then breaking into his DeviantArt account and vandalizing it with LeBron James Sprite Cranberry memes and cringy roleplays. The account would be renamed to Sprite Cranbirdie, a name he kept for quite a while actually. Birdie would get his account back and accuse Heimguts of being involved in the hack with no evidence other than proximity, and despite multiple people telling him and proving that Heimguts wasn't involved, he still kept up the lie. This prompted Haim and Doge just to post an entire Google Drive and change.org petition on the 21st of December 2018, alongside a local...
What happens if the change.org petition gets enough signatures? I think, does the internet police get involved?
Multi-stream on the Doge Just channel. The drive mainly aims to prove that Birdie's constant obsession had made Heimguts completely stressed, to the point of being sent to a mental hospital. Inside it documents many of the obsessive things that Birdie had said about Heimguts, and much of what we've already seen in this segment. The publication of this drive seemed reasonable to the public, and as they saw it, Birdie's behaviour here was disgusting and lined up with past actions. But despite posting an entire Google Drive and change.org petition, as well as a stream, and claiming that Birdie's actions sent Heim to a mental hospital, the two of them got back together on the 25th of December. This relationship between Birdie and Heimguts is the last one they had, and it was explicitly sexual between both of them. Heimguts would be completely invested with Birdie's obsessive creations like IDMT or his plushies, and even compared himself to Birdie's groomer Maddie at some points. They broke up again on January 2nd, 2019 for the last time, but their fights with each other would not end there. In the
This is a really weird Friday Night Funkin' mod. When do we start playing the song?
early days of January 2019, an account under the name of posted to YouTube, showing a lot of these sexual DMs between Heimguts and Birdie, and a statement saying that neither party was in the right. This alternate account, which would turn out to be Birdie, would go on to paint it out as if the entire interaction was non-consensual, which was a bold-faced lie and easily disproved by Heimguts in the following days. Any points that could be made about Heim's drastic switch between hatred or love, or the unhinged comments inside, were obviously discarded in the face of a false allegation. Another thing worth adding is that Birdie would also start to transition during this time from female to male. Birdie has since stated that they always felt like a boy, but there's been a lot of speculation on whether this was done just to be in Heimguts' dating pool. There are messages of Birdie double backing on the decision and directly citing Heimguts, and even when Heim changed his mind about being straight, Birdie still planned to hide all the girly stuff in his room to better appeal to him. After suffering the ultimate betrayal, quote unquote, Birdie's opinion of Heimguts was completely against.
Okay, all right. I want everybody to picture where my brain is at when I'm looking at like a drawing like this, right? I'm not picturing it being posted to like a Discord channel where nobody gives a shit. But like, just imagine that this picture was scrawled on the wall of a completely unlit home, right? And it's just completely unfurnished. You walk in, there's just piles of trash everywhere, and you turn to the right, and then there's a musical sting as you see this giant mural of monster, evil, stupid, desperate. I'm picturing, you guys know in SWAT 4, that first house you go to, where you're like walking in and it's Halloween, and it's a serial killer's home. And it's like, you get like the home's like a little off before you go into the basement where you find out the guy's been killing people. Like, it has that energy. All right.
Him. His partner replacement was himself, or rather a voice in his head named Carol, who he said he was dating. Yes, this is a real thing that happened. Interestingly, the OCs that he made of Carol look suspiciously like how he drew Heimguts in real life, but don't think about that too much. Birdie also made a new channel named Chrysophobia, which means a phobia for the color orange.
30, damn. And it was a message with no words in it. Thank you. I see people are trying to make up for me losing money on an eBay sale.
Obviously alluding to Heimguts' character being orange primarily. Birdie's channels would become a place for him airing out his issues through vents made about Heim, Dojust, and others he fought with. This contained everything from vents about Heim for months straight, to drawing himself as the villains of World War II, and making
As the wait, pause. Let's deconstruct what you just said there. The villains of World War II?
vents about Heim for months straight, to drawing himself as the villains of World
Die, Himmy. Gut 666. And this is from Birdie. This is Birdie. He looks like a Nazi. I'm so sorry. It wasn't intentional. Well, it was kinda. But no, I've had yet another personality change, and I'm angry as fuck now. Okay. Oh my god. Vimsy Pop Nazi, bro. Oh boy. So if this is 2019, how old is Birdie right now?
Hey Diesel and chat, just got back from Houston Pride 2025 and I definitely enjoyed myself.
That's very
I was
base.
able to throw ass in the blazing heat and I had fun.
That's also that. Honestly, thank you for your service. Well, I know Birdie is in their early 20s now. I'm talking about in 2019. So in 2019, are they 20? Oh, no. So they probs 15 to 16. Okay. I know they're still kind of doing the same thing now. So it's not to the point where I'm like, this is infantilizing. But if this is like, if they're doing this at like 23, no, they're just crazy. This person's just crazy. There were signs.
War II, and
Birdie claims to have many personalities. Well, you know, they also have a lot of problems about the villains with World War II.
making violent animations about MLP characters because Heim liked MLP. It's during this time that Birdie began to shift the narrative into him actually being a victim of Heim. Tons of these events were basically conveying this issue, and again, please just see for yourself from the evidence provided. Birdie would also start talking to a new person by the name of Purple, who he may have had a relationship with depending on who you believe. Purple would later leak their DMs after he hacked Birdie's account with Dojust and Heimguts, and Heim would also send Birdie a number of Discord friend requests with cryptic and threatening messages in the names.
This is just so extra. Do you people, I know these are like teenagers when this is happening, but like, what happened to school? Don't people go to school? Aren't you busy with homework? Does homework not impede your social outings at all?
Restart. Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji,
It's gonna,
watermelon
we're
emoji,
gonna be here.
watermelon
moment,
emoji,
you know?
watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji,
Watermelon emoji, actually.
watermelon emoji.
You think kids these
watermelon
days do
emoji,
homework?
watermelon
This was
emoji,
2019.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji,
Watermelon
emoji,
Jesus
watermelon
Christ.
emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
Put a beat on that bad boy.
Emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
Nah, dude. Just enjoy nonsense. Enjoy.
Thank you for that, Anonymous. That is very nice of you. Everybody's being very generous this evening. Thank you so much. The TTS is getting tired.
However, it's worth noting that this stuff was only for a couple of months, and Birdie's vents about Heim continued long after that. It was also around this point that Birdie dated another person by the name of Toxie, or Temiskulls, not to be confused with Toxikai. Toxie was 12 when her and Birdie entered another sort of relationship in mid-2019, after Toxie had gotten in contact with Birdie as a fan willing to defend him. For clarification, Birdie was 14 at this point. During their relationship, Toxie claims that they talked about her being a lolly bean, doing sexual roleplays with childish characters, and Birdie saying that he loved how sweet and pure they were.
This is just beyond. This is just beyond any reason. This is beyond reason. It's really what it is. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how, like, there are teens or preteens that end up with lives like this. I mean, obviously, I know. I can't. It won't let me turn off.
You know how to stop this. Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
Birdie is a high school dropout.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
I'll put on the dancing fruit. I'll put on the dancing fruit.
Watermelon emoji.
There, I'll get you your damn dancing fruit.
Emoji.
All right.
Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji.
You've negged me.
Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji.
Better.
Something allegedly repeated with further relationships. Birdie would later claim that Toxie, the 12-year-old, groomed him, the 14-year-old, and also forced him into roleplay and being bisexual, which sounds absurd. Not the last time that he'll accuse—
This is all absurd. There literally 0% of this video exists within the reasonable Overton window of society. Okay? Like, there's 0% of this video that is not a social cognito-hazard for the normal functioning of a person in real life. Okay?
accuse a younger person of grooming him. Also around this time, because there's no other place I can put this in the script, Birdie said that if his sister was and murdered and he let it happen—
You are either not being true to me, or you're saying this looks cool, or be defensive. You aren't exactly sure how to describe it. Okay, fuck you, Fauci.
Wow, 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 wow.
I'm gonna end up having to turn off fucking dodo sounds, but my activity feed won't load, bro.
I don't want the dancing fruit. I want the promised watermelon squishing stream. Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon
I heard
emoji,
Obama.
Watermelon emoji, 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 watermelon emoji.
Oh my god.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
You know, this has been a great stream for dodos, I will say that.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
But at what cost?
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
There we go. I silenced you. I turned it back on again.
he wouldn't feel guilt for it. So yeah, just more great upstanding citizen behavior. During the summer of 2019, Birdie would have his—
Wait, I didn't even finish reading it. Hold on. You aren't exactly sure how to describe it, and just say you don't really feel any guilt, but still think it's a worst case scenario you would feel guilt. For example, letting your sister get raped and murdered and not doing anything about it when you were fully able to prevent it. Would you not feel any guilt or just block it out? 3, you have antisocial personality disorder. Basically, you're a sociopath. Oh, that's all right. Here. Once again, the reason I have concluded that this is because a regular human mind cannot just... Okay.
Watermelon, 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 watermelon.
Are you guys just... Are we just like... Is it that time of the month again, chat? We're just really hung up on this thing, huh? You're gonna break Diesel and make him go villain. It'll happen. It'll happen one day.
Just more great upstanding citizen behavior. During the summer of 2019, Birdie would have his internet shut off by his parents. We don't know much about Birdie's time away or even why it specifically happened, but we do know that he returned around October 2019. So enter Birdie's next partner, Goat Kato. 6 years ago, Goat Kato was far from how they're known
Wait a second. Why do I know Goat Kato? Why is that name familiar?
Hi Diesel, I hope your next 40k game is fun, bless.
Thank you. I've lost the last two of them, but we're gonna fingers crossed for the next one. She's in Chris's chat. They're a chatter. Okay.
today and were yet another animation meme tween. They'd gotten a lot of flack
Goat Kato is a creator to Chatter, who we all know Goat now. Okay.
after pushing ultimately false allegations against another YouTube animator known as Sashley. But Goat's drama with Sashley is what brought them closer to Birdie, who had befriended them prior after people had labelled them as a Birdie clone. Birdie would give Goat a lot of advice during the backlash, as well as just being there as a friend, and he also decided to break up with the voice in his head as things progressed. Eventually, this would turn into a
Goat Kato is someone Chris rat bashed and then reformed. Okay.
relationship. Much like many of Birdie's relationships, his one with Goat Kato started well. It was fitted with a healthy
I gotta be honest, I know that these are real people, but all of these creatures, it feels like I'm looking at like an AU OC universe of Friday Night Funkin' mod characters. Okay, all get into like some ridiculous drama about things completely out of the realm of possibility because they're all in fucking middle school.
dose of Heimgut's hatred, as always, thanks to multiple raids from Goat and Birdie's Discord server directed by them. But Goat Kato wasn't really much into the raids because they hadn't got the history that Birdie had with Heim.
Hi Diesel, wow.
Listen, the melon stream will happen. The melon stream will happen.
And even apologized to Heim directly after one of the raids. On the 19th of November 2019, Birdie's server conducted another raid, this time on Heimgut's stream. A fair few people were up for it, and Birdie encouraged them to raise hell, which they did.
On God, you guys made TTS moan in pain.
But Goat wasn't really down for this. They felt that Heim was still human, and people should just let him be. And this unique idea...
Just don't knowing BC I never get to actually catch you live.
It's usually not this busy, I gotta be honest. It's usually not this busy. I don't really know what's in... Like, something is legitimately into people these days. Like, I don't know what is with the chat today.
of not wanting to raid someone's stream sent Birdie into a complete mental breakdown that forever fractured the relationship. This incident was only indicative of a growing issue within Goat Kato and Birdie's relationship. Throughout their conversations, Birdie would continue to brand
It's the pheromones, we're feeling bratty. I can't. That is not okay, bro. It's not okay, bro.
and rave about Heimguts, and when Goat had their own issues, Birdie wasn't there
Diaper
to
Doodles is next. What does that even mean?
listen at all. All this continued to upset Goat, along with further accounts made by Birdie, specifically to harass Heimguts, and they broke the relationship on November 30th. Goat would send Birdie...
Payday, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
Okay, that one is... That's too long. We're gonna be here for like the next minute.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon
Dude,
emoji,
it's
watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
It's the heat wave, chat. It's the heat wave. The heat wave is getting you acting up, right?
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
I'm drinking the watermelon cooler right now.
Watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji, watermelon emoji.
Oh my god.
Birdie a polite paragraph about how they felt Birdie was just obsessing over Heim and how that just didn't sit right with them. Birdie then woke up, delivered a fairly childish response, and made the entire breakup public with an animation. According to Birdie, Goat Kato was now a Heimgut White Knight secret agent the entire time, and he didn't even love them anyways, and he knew they'd eventually break up, which seemed particularly hurtful to Goat, who didn't express any emotion.
Moonchild, thank you for becoming a member of the gas station. I need to change that to Little Guys Incorporated because we've moved on from gas station clerk style antics to industrial espionage.
Hatred, just wanted Birdie to change and didn't want to deal with all the drama. Eventually this would push Goat away to Heim's side, and Birdie and Goat would fight on and off for the next year or so. It was during Birdie's relationship with Goat Kato that he was apparently arrested again, this time after a violent fight with his parents. Much like many other things with Birdie, the legitimacy of this arrest has been questioned to this day. At the time, Birdie said that his parents saw him having a playful fight with his little brother, and just took it way too seriously. However, he's since changed his story to say that his parents sent his little brother to rip up his art. Birdie was then trying to stop him, and the fight ensued from there. Birdie was apparently arrested and spent a night in custody, despite doubts about who was correct in the
You know, probably should have kept them in custody.
argument. How
Oh, base. And then the dodo sound didn't work. Oh yeah, all 40 watermelons will work, but the guy going, what do you want me to debate you? This isn't mock trial. Doesn't work. Okay. Nice to know it'll say watermelon 50 times, but it won't play a single .mp4 video file. Thank you for the 60 euros, Hound. One of Birdie's siblings have said that Birdie was known to beat other kids up and smacked one of their infant siblings too. Wow, what an evil person.
Birdie was hiding from the police with a heavy laptop in hand, no online record whatsoever, and how the punishment didn't match what happened here based on past.
Wouldn't it be funny if one of these stories just ended with, and then they robbed a gas station and got arrested because they were looking for money for crack? Like, I just want something like that, right? I was watching, I don't know if you guys know the streamer OO Labs. He's like the guy who's like building like a bomb in his basement streamer, right? He does stuff like that. And he was doing a nuclear reactor in his basement. But not a real one. And he was describing the story of the guy who in the 80s, he was a Boy Scout and he built a nuclear reactor. And what happened is after doing that as a teen, it like, he almost like destroyed his whole town doing it, right? Because it started to do what nuclear fission does. But apparently as an adult, he got arrested for stealing a bunch of alarms, like smoke detectors, smoke alarms. And the picture of him, he looks real fucked up. And now it's not reading TTS. I think I brought the wrong melons. Oh well, because I know it's supposed to read that. TTS is supposed to read that, but it's nice to know that it only reads one type of melon.
Defenses.
Let's just ignore the nuclear reactor. No, okay, hold on. I'll actually pull that up because it's a. I know. Diesel do the derail thing, right? Diesel's derailing Andy, right? But hold on. This is actually interesting. Boy Scout nuclear reactor. Okay. So yeah. So this is this is what he looked like versus between when he was a Boy Scout versus when he was an adult.
I have something worse than watermelon emoji. Jokes about German sausage are the worst. Why couldn't the ponies sing in the choir? He was a little horse. If you see an Apple store get robbed, does that make you an eyewitness? I can't stand Russian dolls, they're so full of tea.
Okay. Here, let me pull this up. Let me make sure YouTube alerts actually are on a channel for audio too. They are. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Boo boo, 0 stars, thumbs down. So yeah, there was actually a Boy Scout who developed a nuclear reactor in like a shed, right? And here's him as like a teen into Boy Scouts versus him as an adult when he gets booked and arrested for trying to steal a bunch of smoke detectors. Okay? Like, don't you just want, like, the Birdie image of before and then the Birdie image of after when Birdie's, like, finally arrested for doing, like, serious narcotics? Like, I just want one of these lolcow stories to end up with the person being like, and then they went to prison. And then that's it. And then the story ends. Like, it's never just, like, the story ends. It's always, like, a non sequitur that goes on and on and on and on and on, right? Because, like, let's be real, the story about Yandere Dev, I think, is, like, dead. Like, it's done, right? But there's all these, like, non sequiturs that just go on and on and on and on and on, right? It doesn't end. There's no bow on it. It's gonna be Nova Online again with alcohol. Daniel Larson went to prison at least. True. But yeah, that was a really interesting one. The radioactive Boy Scout. He was a nuclear radiation enthusiast who built a homemade neutron source at the age of 17.
Near the end of 2019, Birdie entered another relationship with a user known as Julian, and their relationship would persist throughout most of 2020. It's at this point that the harassment towards Heimgoods reached its absolute peak, through death threats and alt accounts. There were many messages containing graphic discussion of Heim's body, and messages about wanting to torture Heimgoods for several months. Birdie would also say he was intentionally trying to use the Birdie name to subtly manipulate Heim's emotion.
Guys, it's Cinny. It's Cinny Bear. It's Cinny Bear. Look at this. Look at this. You know, drama is a lot like Greek tragedies. It all happens in 3 acts, right? So, like, we have Birdie, right? And Birdie's the main character of the first story, right? And then it's like the second story, Cinny's the main character, right? And then the third story is Jar, and Jar's the main character, and Jar's attached to Cinny. Like, it all connects, okay? They're like Greek tragedies, okay? They're like Greek tragedies. This needs to have, like, a name. This needs, like, a Greek name associated with it.
And in around late 2019, posted events which traced over nudes that Heimgoods had sent him when he was 13. Birdie's hateful obsession with Heim would extend to whatever he liked publicly. When he posted a drawing based on the anime Panty and Stocking, Birdie would post a drawing killing the characters. Same thing with My Little Pony.
Wow, that's before. Weird as hell. Hi. What the fuck? Drummer, what the fuck is that, dude?
In fact, there was an entire series of drama and harassment because Heimgoods
Birdusius. No, that's too... I'm sorry, my brain is too rotted by the internet. The fall of Birdicus. This is sounded like fucking like Sporticus, bro.
Posted about the fictional character Rayman, and that infuriated Birdie because he was a fan of
Bordythius, the Trojar War. Show it to the class. This is so incomprehensibly, like, deranged.
Kevin Z celebrates 16 months of membership. Plugging Mana Potion Coffee BC. You don't use D10.
I got Pete Opus Rex. And then I was groomed. I feel like I lack like the PhD to understand this, you know? But that's a really great point. You know what you can understand very easily? Mana Potion Coffee. Go to manapotioncoffee.com. and buy our coffee and tea. That's right. I'm doing a plug now. Yeah, that's right. I do that. But you totally should. Mana Potion Coffee is working on something right now, so the website is undergoing some, like, you know, pardon our dust, I will say, right? But also buy our stuff because it'll help us do the secret thing that I can't tell you about yet, but I will be able to tell you about soon. Okay. But you could go on there. We have 3 roasts of coffee. We have decaf. We have tea. Okay? I don't know why the lemonade isn't up there. I've seen the box. I think we're waiting on labels. Okay? But you should buy it.
Man, which inspired a whole lot of harassment. Birdie would also start remaking both Torturing Birdie and I Dropped My Tortilla. This is probably not even an extensive list of everything that Birdie did. Keep in mind that as far as we know, Haim only went near Birdie's level of harassment once, and that was in early 2019 when he would send friend requests with cryptic messages associated with a hack. But we're comparing Haim's instances over 3 months to Birdie doing it for around 2 years. Birdie can state that he's the victim of Haim and all this was the public being misled, but it's hard to believe that when he was actively also misleading the public. Him and his friends doxed Heimguts and spammed his name anywhere they could. And then Birdie posted a DeviantArt statement straight up lying and saying that he wasn't doxing Haim, and it was so
logo on the ass.
having to deal with these false statements. Birdie's relationship with Julian was going fairly well for about the first half of the year, but things began to take a change when Birdie introduced another person to this relationship known as Jay. Julian's issues against Birdie began to rack up. He didn't feel particularly good about opening up his relationship to be polyamorous, and as time went on, he began to feel like the neglected party. There was even an entire period where Julian felt Birdie would just use him for sexual purposes, when he was far more interested in Jay romantically. So why wouldn't he do the sexual stuff with Jay? Well, Jay wasn't particularly interested in it at all, and at numerous points when Jay didn't want to do Discord ERP, Birdie would get depressed and make several vents about it. A bit overdramatic, I'd say.
Oh, you do not want to do furry fetish roleplay on Discord? I will kill myself.
But hey, we're talking about Discord.
That is not an endorsement. We don't do that.
Will cure all your illnesses, mental and physical. Also, let's see if TTS is still tired. Watermelon emoji.
It will not cure your illnesses. Actually, what happened to cool anime girls is that they've gotten an illness. They've gotten melanitis. So this is actually a byproduct of them suffering from this disease. Okay? That's because they're... I don't even know what they're doing. I can't like tie this into brand my coffee.
Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji. Watermelon emoji.
Mana potion coffee will make you bratty as well.
ERP, that seems about right. After a number of personal arguments, Birdie and Julian would break up in late 2020. Julian would then get into more petty back and forth with Birdie, and after an incident in which Birdie faked his death to Julian as a prank, Julian decided to leak a bunch of stuff from his relationship with Birdie. The worst of these leaks was, of course, the...
That's your tagline now, it'll make you bratty. I don't think I could say that, but if you do feel bratty after consuming my tea or coffee, then more power to you, sister, okay?
Incident where the public finally found out that Birdie tried to fuck his ferret. It was mentioned in these DMs whilst both people were revealing their biggest secrets, and its publication caused a lot of backlash. Birdie responded by confirming the secret was real, it did happen, he deeply regretted it, and it affected his life horribly. But it's at this point where we're gonna pause. While Birdie can say that the incident with his ferret Chara
will it make you brappy too? That's not okay. I don't approve of that. I don't approve of that.
At this point to where we're gonna pause. While Birdie can say that the incident with his ferret Chara was affected by him being groomed by a 30-year-old man, that cannot be applied for his treatment of his ferret overall. Sexual stuff completely aside, valid questions were raised about Birdie as a pet owner. Birdie had stated before that Chara was fairly unhealthy because of his family's financial status, but I'm pretty sure having maggots and fly eggs in your ferret's cage indicates a lot more than just finances.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Fucking clean up. Not only, ferrets are stinky as a pet on a normal day, okay? But that's like fucking foul, all right? The smell in there must have been insane.
It does not cost that much to just clean a cage. And if there are so many flies in your room with you and your ferret that you start...
That's actually a really good idea, Starshine. I'm going to tell my brother about that.
Constantly drawing yourself surrounded by them, something's up. Speaking of Chara's cage, people speculated that it was also too small for her size, and poor diet and lack of nutrients may have been leading to her fur constantly changing and degrading in color. It began to turn lighter, her tail fur wasn't growing back, she was losing a lot of her brown markings. How about Birdie talking about petting his ferret and feeling feeling her ribs, or saying that she always
Ugh. Yeah, I don't want to armchair psychologist people, but damn, this kid's fucked up.
was pooped when Birdie gave her baths, or a picture of Birdie throwing his ferret. As far as we know, very little action was taken in response to any of these claims. There was some in June 2019 where Birdie finally cleaned Chara's cage, gave her some food and vitamins, and took her out of the cage. But flip forward to around 6 months on, and Birdie hadn't let Chara out of the cage since then. Chara the ferret died in November 2022, and was cremated with her ashes being put into an urn. We have no idea how Chara was treated beyond the window into it that we have, but if Birdie accidentally leaving her ashes behind after moving on,
Paying my dues as a fellow teacher since I've been here for ages.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been actually, that's actually been why, that's part of why, I don't know how many streams you've kept up with, but that's part of why streaming has been so irregular, is because I've been trying to like manage. We're prepping for a summer program right now, and I am very busy with that prep, and it is very, very stressful. So thank you.
out of someone's house is anything to go by, it probably wasn't that good. Returning to late 2021, Birdie and Julian would continue to fight over the next few months. At some point, Birdie was in a group chat and made fun of Julian by describing as nudes.
What the fuck? Oh, dang, that's the most brutal. Oh god, if somebody was like, you look like Chowder when he inflated. Oh my god, that's the most brutal and autistic thing ever, bro. Oh boy.
In response, Julian just straight up leaked Birdie's nudes. Birdie would go on
Oh my god, this is the most insane shit ever. The alternative is these kids are not alright, bro. What the fuck? Dude, Toastify will say like a thing and then he'll follow it up and say another thing, and it's like more insane than the last thing. But I don't think anything is gonna top the villains of World War II thing that he said earlier.
server and post a bunch of very unhinged messages and threats towards Julian, Julian would then make several accounts to spam Birdie's social. Whilst this was going on, Birdie was still dating Jay, and their relationship is shown through the volume of art he made about it, cataloguing every month, as well as the plushies and the pony art. However, what really happened is up in the air. After getting out of the relationship, Jay would accuse Birdie of abuse. Jay said that Birdie would isolate them from their interests, friends, and had to cut off his personality and become a different person, all to please Birdie. Birdie has since stated that his breakup with Jay was one of the worst experiences of his life, and that it sent him into another psychotic break. But Birdie has also said that he feels super bad for how he was gross to Jay. For the rest of the year, Birdie would post more depressed art about Jay and how
Oh my god, this is so ridiculous. Oh my god.
he was still attracted to him, which definitely made Jay feel weird.
I don't even, like, what am I even supposed to say to this? Like, this is just... I don't even, like, sometimes I can offer, like, an actionable statement on things, right? Because it's, like, two things, right? It's, like, people come to watch a streamer because they just want to see his hot takes and him go, oh, that's fucking crazy, right? But it's, like, I'd like to be able to, like, offer a thing to the discussion based on my personal life experience, so that way people can go, damn, well, that seems pretty interesting. I didn't take that piece of, like, thought into consideration. I didn't think that. But it's just like, this is, again, like I said earlier, this is so beyond the realm of any normal thing that 99% of people deal with, right? I watch you for the Gooner perspective. There's no Gooner perspective here, okay? It's just, I don't understand.
In fact, at some point later during 2021, Birdie also attempted to unironically make a
Give a goon perspective now. These mentally ill minors should get therapy. That's my current perspective. All right, they need somebody needs to give them lithium now.
potion spell from TikTok so that Jay would get back together with him. On May 11th, 2021, Birdie entered his next relationship with someone known as Draggy, which lasted a total of 4 days. Draggy was around 13 years old when he and Birdie, a 16-year-old, began dating, although they had been friends prior and would continue to be friends for a bit after. From this relationship came the absolute gem from Birdie. I think you're pretty mature for your age. That's one of the reasons I've considered
Yay. Oh no. Oh boy. Somebody call up Oingo Boingo.
you as a viable option for a partner. You don't seem like the kind of person who would give up when things get hard. Birdie would bring up several topics and videos that a lot of people agree should not be discussed with
the mature for your age is the most horrifying statement. It doesn't get any worse than that.
13-year-old. This includes Birdie talking about and sending NSFW, discussing a dream about SA, discussing NSFW titles on videos, and sending uncensored rape porn in a group chat with Draggy. Following the short relationship, Birdie said that he broke it off because he didn't want to hurt Draggy, and that he was selfish and decided to try dating Draggy whilst he was in a wrong state of mind. He then denied that he said he ever felt guilty for the relationship, and has since accused Draggy of being a sadistic attention seeker who made the decision to date him. Many people who have since learned of this incident have accused Birdie of grooming, and
I think Birdie should have like it's already too late, but maybe these parents should have given them like put them in like martial arts class or like some other third place, so this mentally ill teen didn't go to Discord and become a sociopath. I don't know if they became one or were just born that way, but like I don't know, man. Like some part of the, I don't know what part of the system failed or what part of something failed, but whatever failed so spectacularly that it took up like 4 other people's failures or something. I don't know.
I'm not surprised people have this view, nor do I really blame them for coming to such a conclusion.
But Diesel, stuff like that is expensive. You know what's something? A place that I was getting BJJ training at would give free classes if you couldn't afford it. And so they would give people training who, you know, were suffering financially because they understood that they needed another place, you know? BJJ, 2 J's, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
The fact that Birdie has since responded, saying that Draggy, a 13-year-old, actually groomed him instead, is such a stupid argument that has just strengthened the case against him. Months before, Birdie also befriended another 13-year-old named Nessa whilst he was 16, and without even asking for their age, he sent them mangled NSFW of the girls from Doki Doki Literature Club. After he learnt of their age, Birdie continued to talk about SH and was friends with them as recently as 2023, where they were still
yeah, Brazilian job.
talking about sexual topics. During 2021, a familiar face had also reared its head, someone who you might recognize by the name of Cinebear03. Much like Birdie, Cinebear had started as a young Sans fangirl making animations. This is hinted at in her old name, Scooter.
This is such a hilariously non-needed indictment of Undertale. You know, like Undertale is such like a genuine, like the writing in it is so genuine. For such mental illness to be associated with it, it's just absolutely just, I don't understand how that happened, right? Because it's like the messages of things like Undertale are like, have empathy. And then it's just like the most fucking insane person ever, okay? At least when people are like, Five Nights at Freddy's, I think I'd be mentally ill now, right? It makes kind of sense because, you know, nobody looks at fucking William Afton and goes, oh, that's a great guy. Okay, I'm not saying that like, oh, like you just, it makes sense if somebody was crazy and they're like really obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's. But like Undertale, everything in Undertale and Deltarune is like telling you to like not judge a book by its cover, to have empathy for your fellow man, to understand that situations are complex and can sometimes take time to unravel and reach conclusions that everybody can be happy, right? It's like it has all these like good things. Steven Universe too, right? Where Steven Universe is like, you should love people regardless of their race, gender, or creed. Or it's like, you should be a respectful person to those you meet because you never know what they're going through. And then you see the fandom and it's like, kill, 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 murder, murder, murder.
Blue Love Sans. Unlike Birdie, Cindy had nowhere near
Same thing, MLP too, dude. I don't understand.
as much drama and seemed to be a genuinely talented.
Granted, it's I know it's every community, and I think drama as a genre, hot take alert, I think drama as a genre might have a bit of a zeroed in view on these specific communities, and as a result they don't recognize the things going on in other communities, and they say, oh, those aren't so bad, but the reality is they're not looking for it, right? Or they're not finding it. Because I've spent a lot of time in like the Warhammer community, and anybody who's been there knows that people like this exist, but nobody talks about it because it's just not a community that gets contact with the drama community. It just never happens, right? So it's almost like we have this like operational bias towards these certain communities because we've already been pre-exposed to drama about them in the past.
Artist who was going to make it beyond the pit of dregs in the animation meme community.
Nah, this isn't a hot take. It's actually just common sense. I think some of my contemporaries would beg to differ. But I do think it's a byproduct of like online fandom that the most vocal and mentally deranged seem to like bubble up to the top in these certain takes, right? It's because I've seen and experienced aspects of many fandoms on the internet, and the reality is 99% of people are fine. And then it's the 1% that act like this that end up defining the entirety of the community, when the reality is that it's not like that for real, right? But I think a lot of drama tubers will assume that these outliers represent the majority when they don't. And it is a problem, right? But I just want to impart that onto people.
Cindy and Birdie had an on and off friendship throughout the years, mostly from Cindy desperately trying to be friends with Birdie. During 2020 and 2021, Cindy would start to have a crush on Birdie, made a plushie of his character, and drew several pieces of art, including an entire hand-drawn comic about Birdie essaying her. This was all very weird to the public, considering that she was in a relationship with someone else at the time, and also everyone saw Birdie as a psychotic freak who had harmed so many people. So there was a significant amount of backlash towards Cindy.
Yeah, it's very much just a human thing overall to focus on the negative side of things. Yeah, it's like a byproduct of like drama having blinders for stuff like the ACC, right? And only focusing on what's directly in front of them and not recognizing those other things. And then also just like us not ever getting exposed to those other communities. I think part of it is we also tend to notice deranged shit more the more innocent a piece of media is that the community resolves. Or yeah, I think that's a very good point as well. Yeah. Damn, man, it must be payday for you people. Thank you, Anonymous.
She would later make a video clarifying she didn't support Birdie's most egregious actions and was even against him doxing Heimgoods, but felt that Birdie was still young.
This is like one of those like things about drama where I could talk about it ad nauseum, just because it's like something that I actually like care about more so than this, and also it's like almost like and it's not an indictment of my contemporaries, right? I'll tell you who I'm thinking of. I love you, Chris, but this is something Chris does, right? Where he has these perceptions of these communities based on his experience with like literally the worst examples of these people. And then I have to say to Chris, I'm like, Chris, it's not like that, because a majority of the people that exist in the world don't act like these people. Like people in drama expose themselves to the worst people possible. And I think that makes people in drama and drama adjacent communities almost view everyone like that, right? Like I see, like people will say, oh, drama's dry right now. Oh, the well's dry right now. And then they start getting into beef with their contemporaries, right? Or not even their contemporaries, but like, you know, inter-community drama starts, right? Well, I think part of that is like people not going to look for things, one, but then two, the communities around drama being so focused on such deranged and mentally ill people is causing people to assume that these outliers represent a majority of people. But like, I touch grass, I work a day job, I go outside. The reality is a majority of people aren't like that, right? The majority of real life when you're outside is the most boring shit ever. Like it really is as mundane or more mundane than you could possibly imagine. And I know ultimately this boils down to Diesel saying touch grass with more words, but it's just the reality of like life. But ACC people don't go outside. You don't know about the ones who do go outside. That's the point.
And had a lot to learn, but little did she know that Birdie would reach new lows mere days later. During May of 2021, Birdie would join an online group known as DICE. Often described as a cult, DICE was essentially an
If you were allowed to hang out in a public space in your underwear, would you take that option? To me, pants are an unnecessary evil that we have to settle with.
online group of kids dedicated to bringing the worst out of each other, a Discord server hierarchy numbering in hundreds of members, where people were often encouraged to harm themselves, harm others, and indulge in degeneracy. The group began with its creator and leader, Mortis, a 15-year-old from Ireland that created DICE as a splinter off of another larger group named Trash Cult. Mortis was obsessed with Birdie during 2020 and 2021, even being one of his many impersonators, and it was during May 2021 that they became friends despite her many disgusting actions.
I saw the one picture of you, I guess, doing your dog. What happened with that? Is that like real legit shit?
Well, I haven't done it for like years.
So you do admit to doing it?
Yeah.
Whoa! To be clear, again, I just want to say that you could actually go your whole life without running into a person who has sex with their dog.
I do. Well, sometimes when I look at my dog, I just feel bad. I don't know. It makes me feel gross, but at the same time, I still like that sort of stuff.
The group itself has a far bigger and more disgusting history that will not be discussed in this, as we're only going to take a look at Birdie's involvement. And you might be surprised because it's a lot more than Birdie lets on. To this day,
fact is people don't know as much as they think they do, and it's difficult to think outside your own perception of things.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, that's a really great way to put that. I don't even know if there's like a way to solve that problem, right? Because it's just like, I almost feel like, because if I were to say, okay, if you want to understand how, there's like two or three things here, right? So one, have you guys ever seen, and I will tie this back into the conversation in a second, but have you guys ever seen like a guy writes a story about a person, but he hasn't lived that person's life, right? So it's like, oh, a white writer is writing about somebody who's black, right? And so they'll say, you can't write about that. You haven't lived that experience, right? But the ability to write about that and do a good job is the sign of like a good writer, because you can kind of view things from outside your own perception, your own worldview, right? You can put yourself in the shoes of another person and understand the life that they lived, right? That's what empathy is, by the way, just so we know. I literally, it must really be payday and you guys have nothing to spend your money on. Thank you so much. Right? But it's just like, that is something that is a hard skill to learn, but it is very useful because you understand exactly, like, you can understand better how people go through things, right? And it drives me insane that people try to shut that down now, because I don't think that's a bad thing. And then even so, walking through life, I don't think people recognize or do that ever, or they don't do it as much as they used to. I don't know how much of this is like a byproduct of social media, AI, or something, or whatever, but like, I feel like it almost happens more now than it used to. I feel like there was this point where we were kind of coming to understand people more, and then something happened, and now it's almost like it's unraveled at the seams, as if somebody like pulled on a thread and undid all of that. I don't know who, but like, ultimately, it's kind of hard to give something actionable on that other than, hey, you should read books. Hey, you should talk to people. Oh, you should talk to people outside of your socioeconomic status. Like, I do that, right? Because my job requires that I do, but a lot of people just don't.
Birdie said that he was in a bad mental state when he went into this cult, and that he was only there for around 2 weeks, which is technically
Is
true.
the social contract breaking down? We don't have a precedent for it. Yeah. I don't even think it was the pandemic, because I think it started before the pandemic. I think the pandemic sped it up, but you know, it started before that, right?
True, but his impact whilst in DICE is a lot more than he lets
I do think it's the internet, though. I don't want to like chalk it up to a single thing, right? I don't want to chalk it up to a single thing. If I'm making the terminally online argument right now, right? If I'm making the most uncharitably terminally online version of this argument, I think it started with Gamergate. But also, Gamergate really didn't matter. It just didn't, right? So I don't think I would call it that specifically. But it does feel like people almost don't want to listen or experience another person's perspective anymore. It's like the idea of experiencing that perspective is almost like it hurts, like on a physical level, so you don't want to listen to it. I mean, I think you should just read a book of somebody. He's here. Listen, chat. When I was racist, chat. When I was racist, I also, here's another thing. I also would not read books from women authors. Okay. When I was racist. No, you guys don't understand. I was like Mr. Educated racist, okay? I was like the worst kind. Clipped. Did you stop being racist? Yeah, getting laid made me not racist. Yeah, I would be like one of those guys, Tiller, who would be like, well, looking at the statistics, you know, and also all the people I would hang out with in my like club were all Hispanics. Homelander wouldn't have gotten that out of me. Well, I'm not like that anymore. This is like a decade ago at this rate. What? I was 18, 19. Jesus will be like, despite making up 10% of the population. I was a certified phrenology expert. Young men may have a little racism as a treat. They're done. They're all full. They ate too much.
To this day, Earlier this year, an account by the name of Cherry came out with screenshots accusing Birdie, who was 16, of being in group chats with 12-year-olds and encouraging them to SH. This included pictures, tips on how to do it effectively, and videos. Another account by the name of Edward expressed that Birdie joining the server and talking about it publicly had only led more people to join the server and get harmed themselves. Related to this as well, a year after leaving DICE, so in 2022, Purple and Draggy would operate a Sting account posing as an 11-year-old girl named Olive, trying to ensnare Birdie as a pedo. What they did get is Birdie asking someone they believe to be an 11-year-old that they should still draw gore and cannibalism art. There is
Wow, what the fuck?
simply no excuse for the fact that Birdie was exposing this stuff directly to people much younger than him, and the fact that it was being normalized when Birdie came back as an adult just adds to this. Following his involvement with DICE,
I sent you a video on the DICE server, and I'm not gonna lie, that shit is insane.
Birdie would mostly leave the public eye for the next 3 years, due to intervention from his parents after one of Birdie's siblings had an
be a long
internet
one, huh?
addiction. Ironic considering I imagine
Definitely gonna have to do a separate stream on that.
Birdie would be the prime example when looking for that, but
The E in Chuck E. Cheese stands for N-word.
sure, okay. Now, a lot of the information in this segment mainly comes from Birdie's video, I'm Back, that explains his side of everything. So again, take it with a pinch of salt, we don't have much of the other side. By the time that Birdie had broken up with Jay, he says that he began to deteriorate. He notes that his parents once swarmed into the basement and yelled through the door of his bedroom for an hour whilst he was hiding, saying that Birdie was lazy and faking depression to be a victim. After that, they cut off the internet, which led to another psychotic break for months. Birdie would later be diagnosed with psychosis or schizospec in September 2023.
What? Dongon Birdie got the status effects from Darktide, bro. What?
It's still unclear, I don't know which one. On one instance, Birdie claimed that he tried to end it all, and his parents refused to give medical attention and threatened to call the police because he was threatening them to take him to the hospital. Birdie eventually got his internet back through loopholes and decided to finally start studying for a job. But at the beginning of 2023, his parents just decided to randomly kick him out as he was 18 now. No reason provided than just his age, according to Birdie. So he then had to go live with his grandma. Now initially,
I have a, schizophrenic theory. Shout out to Mad. Okay. So you guys might remember a story that Tumad told where he's like, I used to be living with my family, but then I got into it with my sister and I stole my sister's cheesy bread. And so my family kicked me out. I don't think he was kicked out for cheesy bread. I think something happened between him and his sister, and that's why he had to leave. That's my crackpot theory. I think Tumad did something with his sister, and it wasn't cheesy bread. I think him saying it was cheesy bread is him covering his ass. I think it's something else. But that's just because of things I've heard him, like, say. What if the cheesy bread was really good, though? What if the cheesy bread was his sister's feet?
his grandma
I sent you a wild palate cleanser that hopefully restores your faith in humanity. Well, you know, this is really wonderful, Falgy, but now that I've showed it on stream, I have to direct a deep state to it, and then they're gonna kill these scientists. So it's great to hear, but
was accepting of him, but issues arose because Birdie wouldn't wake up to go to school on his own or do his homework himself at age 18. There's a plethora of disorders cited along this, including an undiagnosed heart condition, but some of these issues seem totally on Birdie. At one point he talks about the fact that he had to just bring in a laptop to school and do his work on the corner, but if he forgot to bring his laptop, he wouldn't be able to do anything. He paints himself as the victim in this and the staff neglecting him, but I just have to ask, who on earth forgets to bring a heavy-ass laptop, especially when it's the one thing they need to bring? Over time, Birdie's grandma started to get sick of him and became more aggressive. She accused him of being manipulative, Birdie said she was being verbally abusive, and this led to Birdie getting kicked out and staying at a homeless shelter. During a stay at the homeless shelter, this was also apparently hell on earth, as the water was dirty and people swatted and pizza bombed the place. Birdie was then picked up from the shelter by his nana and lived in her house with his husband. He got a room in their garage, but apparently it turns out his nana and her husband were also
okay, for reference, the video Toastify is referencing convinced people that Birdie was a victim. There's just so much there, right? Like the Lost Coyote in the chat. The thing with Birdie is he says so much inane shit i.e. I was groomed by someone younger than me, that I just assume he's misrepresenting everything he talks about. Yeah, I feel like when you add too much, it almost makes it so outrageous that I just go, okay, you must be full of shit, right? Like, you just expound upon something to the point of almost parody. So why am I gonna fucking listen to it? This stream is completely different from the prior one I did on Birdie, where I was completely delirious. Is that not true, chat? Like, holy fuck.
So abusive to Birdie. They all had fights with each other before he went back to the homeless shelter and then back to his parents' house. This is despite the fact his nana offered him her beach house to live in, which I imagine most people who were home.
POTS isn't a heart condition, it's a type of dysautonomia. I don't know if Birdie has it, but it can be incredibly debilitating. Yeah, you know, I know a thing or two about POTS. Oh, naughty.
Homeless would grasp that opportunity at the first time of asking. Now you may be thinking, why didn't Birdie just go to a friend's house, you know, sleep over on the sofa? And to be fair, an attempt was made, but its existence has only brought more accusations against Birdie.
Yeah, the POTS community has not had much good representation. I'm so sorry.
As soon as Birdie got his internet back in 2022 through undisclosed loopholes, he was in communications with his internet friends. Keep in mind, he had no IRL friends at 16, so his closest friend was Refix, or the Maryland guy as he's known by others. Refix was a close friend who had offered to house Birdie in their home in Maryland. However, in Birdie's I'm Back video, Birdie goes on to accuse Refix of emotional abuse, saying he bribed them with gifts and held them above his head as manipulation. Refix would then block him just as he was ready to leave for Maryland and went on to harass Birdie, leaking artwork and vents and causing another psychotic break and insane paranoia. Unsurprisingly, this has since been contested by Refix, who posted his own side on Twitter with more evidence to add. During their friendship, Refix kind of played the role of being Birdie's wrangler, holding him back. In fact, he apparently was the person who got Birdie out of dice. Per his side, he was a completely providing friend who was constantly stressed by Birdie's overdependence on him. He consistently felt that he was responsible for Birdie's life, and him changing his profile picture to make it seem like it was ending only added to the stress. At some points, Refix felt like he was the reason. The DM shown paint out Birdie as an obsessive partner of sorts, even if they weren't technically in a relationship. There was a need to constantly talk, and when Refix did something else for a few hours, Birdie would start to melt down. He would go on to isolate Refix from his friends, and after their relationship, would make YouTube accounts to harass him. As for Refix's harassment, it seems there was a bit more beyond the cropped screenshot, as Birdie had sent someone to forward a cruel message to him on Facebook Messenger. Then he
it's just, there is a level of effort here that Birdie goes into to harassing other people in his life that is just so insane. Like, the amount of effort required to do this, like, imagine if Birdie put this effort into getting a job application, bro. They'd be working at Taco Bell in no time.
Replied asking to leave him alone, and Birdie framed it as him just being attacked out of nowhere. With seemingly nowhere to go, the bridge burned with Refix, and not looking good with anyone in his family, Birdie really needed a Hail Mary to keep them off the streets, or away from his nana's beach house, and one came down from Missouri to Washington in the form of Cinnybear03. Birdie and Cinny had been talking with each other and rekindling their friendship, and after being left with no options, Birdie went to live...
Fucking child Weinstein was kicked out of the friend's house, and then young adult Epstein was like, please come live with me. Please come live with me in Little St. James single studio apartment.
With Cinny. The two drove back to Missouri and cuddled with each other on the first night watching videos. For now, it seemed like Birdie had finally found a home where they could feel safe inside. But having moved so far, it would take a while for Birdie to set his new life up. In the meantime, his identity was obscured, and he was only referred to as Jimmy by Cinnybear whilst on stream, for example. Birdie's grand return came on April 14th, 2024.
Just leave the internet. You don't have to be a creator, bro. Just go away.
Video titled I'm Back aims to be the be-all end-all of Birdie drama videos. However, it's filled with a lot of obscuration and misinformation. Standout points include Birdie calling Kitty Dog a groomer when he was 12 and she was 14, and then saying that his relationship with Draggy when he was 16 and Draggy was 13 was actually not grooming because he was in a lesser state of mind that time.
Now, because
Oh my god. Okay.
it's it's genuinely traumatic for me, but I will include some screenshots in this section as I elaborate. Anyways, this shouldn't have been drama in the first place, but Kitty Dog encouraged me to make drawings like those, and that's why they exist. I know a few of you are probably gonna say
We've covered this. Birdie will literally die without internet. I too thought I would die without internet, but then I went on a camping trip, and then I realized that I would actually more quickly die without heat. Shout out to that time I almost died in the woods.
this as some sort of counter-argument, so I'd like to acknowledge it. The age gap wasn't, like, huge.
Can we get, like, Shinigami eyes, but, like, it goes red if you're an attention seeker?
I was 12 and she was 14. But, like, let's not get caught up in the logistics of grooming. I am not misusing the word.
Let's not get caught up on the logistics of grooming. Let's not get caught up on the logistics of the Lolita Express, okay?
I can confidently say that this is what this was. There was a huge power dynamic. Kitty Dog was aware of the power she had over me, being a massive creator that I looked up to, and I was not old enough to consent to these things. I was 12. Another thing to bring into consideration is that apparently Kitty Dog was also being groomed during this time period, but this still doesn't excuse her behavior.
That's true. I also did almost burn myself to death too in the same breath, but you know. I need to go camping again. My brother went on a camping trip recently, but I couldn't go.
Especially when we consider COCSA to be a trauma response, which stands for child-on-child sexual abuse.
Oh my god.
5 days after said breakup, I was asked out by my former friend Draggy, who was 13. I was 16, and it was my responsibility as the old-
if you are a high schooler, there is no world where these relationships ever look okay between two high schoolers, okay? Like, that's just, everybody would be like, you're fucking criminally weird.
Older person to turn them down. But because of the mental state I was in, I was unable to make the right decision.
You know the thing, chat, when you go camping, you think it's a lot of bugs, but then, like, it's a lot less than you think. You know, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's all the dirt that gets on you, but it's like you're protected. It's strange.
They were entirely aware of the mental state I was in. I addressed my worries with us dating, but they insisted that they wanted to date me, so I agreed. Our relationship lasted less than a week, and nothing of a romantic or sexual nature happened at all. You can also see several instances of me establishing with them that I was not in the right state of mind to be making any proper decisions. But despite the sheer amount of times I said I wasn't in the right state of mind, they continued to pursue me anyways, which, I mean, what can I say?
Birdie, go on Love Island. Yeah, sure, why the hell not? Birdie, go on Fish Tank.
We're 13. Again, it was my responsibility to turn them down, which I would have done if I was, like, lucid. But in all honesty, I think I was taken advantage of.
See guys, I didn't groom Draggy because I was mentally all gone, not on the right state of mind. But that doesn't apply to Katie Dog, even though she was being groomed at the time.
Have you tried the Persona 5 gacha game yet? I downloaded it. I do want to try it. Just to be clear, I haven't even finished Persona 5. I keep trying to sit down and play it, but I own it on a PS4. So I don't, like, by now, like, the last time I tried to play it, I had to, like, take out my fucking PS4, and it was, like, a whole big thing. So it's just, like, now I just put it back away, and I'm like, hey, I'm sure I'll try out Persona 5 on the PC eventually, right? It won't spoiler you, don't worry. Okay, as long as it won't spoiler me.
Standard is incredibly blatant and malicious. He also addresses the Heimgo situation and ultimately apologizes.
Ah, the Unk Station 4. Well, I'm not going to buy a PS5. It only has Death Stranding 2 on it. And I honestly might buy a PS5, but I don't really have the money for that right now. But, you know, I do want Death Stranding 2.
But in this segment, he tries to make an equivalence by showing a period of harassment that Haim did for a couple of months, as opposed to Birdie's 3 years straight of harassment. And also, let's play Birdie's admission statement here.
I would like to take accountability for my behavior towards him. When I was 12 to 15 years old, I had an intense obsession with him, which included me archiving all of his art and making videos about him constantly and sexualizing him, stealing his OCs, borderline stalking him, doxing him, and encouraging harassment of him. This is something that I believe that I genuinely needed to be held accountable for, and thank you to all of you who did, but the harassment that I received because of this was not okay.
Having seen the context and everything that went on here, do you think the statement with no screenshots is representative of what really happened? I mean, he still makes a heavy implication that his stuff with Heimgirls in 2018 was non-consensual, despite the fact that was easily disproven.
Malachi managed to get my entire audience on his side for a long time while manipulating me and gaslighting me for several years. We dated 8 times, I believe, and
Oh boy. Gaslighting. I wasn't lucid. I was being gaslit. I was in a dark place. I was new in town. I am gay. I am bisexual. I am disabled. Blah blah blah.
he took advantage of me sexually. He created
Back in the good old days, children like Birdie would be working in the factories, painting watches and dying. Yeah, Birdie could have been working at a watch factory, painting radium on watch handles. But no, they have to live a long life without the possibility of random cancer from watches. I used to have one of those Digimon Tamagotchis. That shit was based, and they should bring that back.
created an alt account so that he could interact with me. Weirdly enough, while taking advantage of me,
This is exactly why a video like this had to be made that looked at Birdie's past. He is still lying about this. The fact that a video about Birdie's past wasn't made before gave Birdie the opportunity to slither out of his own past. I would not be covering what a 14-year-old was doing online if Birdie wasn't being openly and verifiably dishonest about what happened to everyone.
I have a Tamagotchi that I bought at Anime NYC. It's sitting in a drawer because I can't be bothered to take care of it.
This entire video seems to be symptomatic of how Birdie will overextend on his claims against someone to make them look worse.
It's a common writer Tamagotchi, by the way.
Essentially exaggerating and lying and adding more and more on top as long as he can get away with it. He could have just left it at Kitty Dog may be uncomfortable during New Year's, something that he has evidence for. But no, he goes above and beyond and says they're a groomer, without realizing these same standards could be applied to him. Another thing worth addressing is the excuse that, well, I was psychotic. You see Birdie using this in the video a couple of times, especially with the Draggy segment, and you see a lot of Birdie fans using this as a defense. In fact, some of them may have already commented it before watching the video. Here's the thing, we're still unclear on what Birdie is diagnosed with. I'm not a psychologist, and I doubt you are either. So all we can see is that we have no idea what Birdie actually has. Birdie says in his video that he was diagnosed with psychosis both back when he was
I was diagnosed with psychosis. I was diagnosed as crazy, and I have an internet connection.
14 and in September 2023, except he's not sure which disorder it actually is, so he just calls it psychosis. And when he was diagnosed when he was 14, he was actively also lying to his therapist, and complaining his therapist wouldn't diagnose him properly. And by his therapist, he means his school counselor. You see what I mean? Was I lazy going to school? Well, I'll have you know I have an undiagnosed heart condition as well. What is the process of Birdie even finding these symptoms?
I realized I lined up behaviors in my head, and I thought, why this isn't something a normal person would do. Normal people don't have these thought processes. What's going on? And so I tried to look into it, and I'm not going to tell you what disorder it is, but I have another mental disorder that
Oh my god, bro. Oh god, we're collecting these like some Digimon, bro. We're plugging these USBs into our head.
I match all of the criteria, and it's one of those evil abuser disorders. And
This is my point. None of us are professionals, and we're dealing with a serial liar who's still continuing to lie. We don't know what to believe, so don't take Birdie's word without some sort of evidence. You've seen throughout this video that it's happened before. All I'm saying is look before you leap. After Birdie's I'm Back video, his streak of not addressing drama would last 2 days, when he did a collab with his friend Aggress, making a meme post over the Borderline 12, which for those unaware is a school shooting memorial. Birdie would get a ton of backlash.
Wow, that's fucked up and weird. You don't collect Digimon, Diesel. I'm sorry, I was never a Digimon kid outside of the weird... Okay, so my experience with Digimon was that I would watch the movie a billion times over. Because I don't know why. I don't know what about the Digimon movie had like a a hold on my mental as a child, okay? But yes, Falgi is the Digimon guy.
On it and responded by apologizing multiple times, saying he didn't know and
What isn't it weird? What's the band that plays at the beginning of the Digimon movie? No, first of all, Angela Anaconda is in it at the beginning of the Digimon movie, which is super fucking strange. It makes no sense. And yes, it had the Angela Anaconda bit every time. I would not skip it, even though I didn't like it. And then at the beginning of the Digimon movie, it's like, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. Bare Naked Ladies is the band. Thank you. Bare Naked Ladies. I wanted to say Weezer, but I knew it wasn't Weezer.
Blaming his autism. Some would say a pattern was beginning to re-emerge. During July 2024, whilst playing on the game Ponytown with a fan, Birdie also came across Jay and Julian and had a slap fight with them. It's also worth noting that since his comeback, the art he posted was NSFW artwork that was derivative of what he had made of him and Jay. A lot of the audience of the I'm Back video, many of them also being kids during these past situations, decided to take blame for their actions and applauded and supported Birdie. Even with a video that has at least 2 glaring issues that don't even need context to poke holes in, Birdie's diehard audience came back quickly. Everyone felt that it was time to move on and give Birdie...
Okay, I don't know why this made me laugh, but Chatter Lex said, "What's with these homies dissing my girl?" And I don't know why that made me laugh so much. I am not like a fan of Weezer. I like Weezer in like an ironic sense. You know what I mean? Like I don't like Weezer, but like I like the Weezer as like a platonic idea. Oh my god, why did they got a front? Apparently Weezer fucked back in the day. Apparently Weezer fucked like crazy style.
a big second chance. However, Birdie's I'm Back video had gotten over 600,000 views, and gathered the attention of a fair few people outside the animation meme community who had no idea of any of the history. One of them, Deadwing Dork, made a 5-hour stream basically making fun of the entire video and Birdie's life. In response, Cindybear jumped to Birdie's defense.
Well, that's aged interestingly.
Posted a 2-part video numbering multiple hours, in which he fought against every part of Deadwing's points. Whilst the details of this are probably for another time, Cindybear's loyalty to Birdie seemed incredible. Some people would see her apparent stress as she was working 2 jobs to stay financially stable, whilst Birdie did not work and just stayed home all.
Oh my god. Fucking hell, man. Dude, Neats in Japan sit in silence. Neats in America. Let me tell you about all my mental illness. I don't know if anybody has any experience with Japanese internet, but do Neats in Japan vocalize their poverty this much? Do they, or is it just like something they do in silence?
Benefits. He even needed Cindy to be his caretaker. He had to be asked to split the rent and still didn't fully agree at first. And when Cindy came home, she'd find him just in bed or drawing. Birdie's over-reliance on Cindy meant that if she suddenly lost everything, that would be a death blow.
I thought they vocalized their perversions. Well, that's like a different thing. There's a Twitter account I gotta show you guys after I finish this video. It's funny.
To his current situation, and as fate would have it, that's what happened.
They're insane on 2chan. Yeah, but everybody goes on a chan and says like insane shit because you're on a chan.
For a number of days in mid-September 2024, 3 Google documents were published regarding Cindybear. Document 1 was around Cindy's strange sexual behavior around various minors, whilst Document 3 talked about Cindy's treatment of a former partner. But Document 2 was the most egregious, detailing the experiences of a 14-year-old who accused Cindy of grooming them while she was 21. Whilst there wasn't a relationship, so to say, Cindy showed this minor incredible amounts of NSFW for 6 months straight. She encouraged the minor to do the same and got upset when they didn't. Cindy even sent an
Boy, no wonder Birdie felt so at home with Cindybear. If only there was some YouTuber who would step in and defend Cindybear.
entire hand-drawn essay comic. Something's never changed.
Hand-drawn essay comic. Oh my god. What if the American empire collapses and the world is thrust into a nuclear winter? And then 2000 years from now, a completely new civilization has risen from the ashes, and some 18th century styled explorer uncovers underneath the dust the Cine Bear rape comic. How will they interpret that?
Change, I guess. At the time of the document's release, Birdie and Cindy were on vacation. It was only
Needs in Japan don't vocalize, they vocaloids.
when they came back and looked at the evidence that the ball started to roll. Cindy would post a video apologizing for what she did and saying that she was a groomer. Then, the next day, Birdie posted a video confirming that Cindy was a groomer.
My roommate groomed a 14-year-old. I need help. Yeah, Birdie and Cindy were fucking 1000%. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. There's no... I feel like it's already... You could just assume that happened, yeah.
This video, which was secretly recorded while Cindy was in the other room, talks about...
It's gotta... If we could have one piece of internet history be rediscovered by future explorers with 18th century technology, what would it be? Be aware that if it's that period of history, they will misinterpret us. The Zootopia abortion comic might give them like a perception that we were like animal people. That would be really funny.
The situation, as Birdie claims he had no idea it was ever going on.
The Chris Chan comics. Yeah, I feel like that's the easy one, right?
He also claims that Cindy would essay him, grabbing various parts of his body or poking them as a joke, even though he said no. It's worth noting Cindy would deny these claims, saying it was all consensual and there was no indication of discovery.
Birdie is like, I want to be a victim. And is saying I was giga raped by Cine Bear, right? But they clearly had consensual, or they clearly hooked up. There's no way they didn't.
Alongside this video, Birdie also started a GoFundMe for moving elsewhere and escaping.
Oh, get the fuck out of it. Bro, I saw the shit from Struthless being like, remember when I was covering those tubers that were like, oh, I'm in deep shit. I need money, and then they had like a GoFundMe for their bad financial decisions. Struthless was like, oh, I did it. Like literally his thing was, I didn't read my fucking contract. Okay. And he asked his audience to bail him out of an advance. Okay. I'm sorry, but maybe you should suffer the consequences of your own financial actions. Okay. Fuck you, buddy. Maybe your FICO score should go down. All right. You don't see me making a GoFundMe for my fucking $40,000 in student loans. I'm going to pay that off brick by brick, bitch. Fucking ridiculous, weak-willed, limp-wristed bullshit. Sorry, I'm turning into Senator Armstrong there, but come on. Dude, Innuendo Studios, that fucking hack fraud leftist video essayist loser, right, raises a bunch of money and then immediately goes on a trip to Japan. Oh, I'm glad that the fat white guy decided to go to the fucking white people mecca and go hang around Akihabara burning the money that his audience gave him. Welcome to the working class, Diesel. God. Fucking let your credit score go down, you stupid shit. You made a bad decision. I recognize and completely, like, I've come to terms with my student debt, okay? I've talked about it on stream prior to this. I talked about how I thought I was done with all my student loans. I talked about how nobody ever informed me that I had more student loans. And that, yeah, it was like 1 in 4 Americans had their like credit score drop because of like the admin forbearance with everything. And then the Trump administration, it was like, it's a ridiculous thing. I'm not getting into it right now. Right. But either way, I have fiscal responsibilities, of which I'm annoyed, and I could say things that would get me TOS'd here, but I'm not going to say those things, even though I'm pretty sure that, unrelated, Luigi Mangione is innocent, and I don't know why we're presupposing that that man was guilty. I actually saw him at Chili's the night of the murder, so I think we should let our mans go. But you know, it's just like I'm going to not ask my audience for a GoFundMe and pay off my student loans my fucking self.
The benefits were no longer coming in for him. The GoFundMe would reach its goal of $10,000 in a matter of days, and even went above, reaching $11,000. Even after everything Birdie had said and done and all the controversy,
Luigi did nothing wrong, and he should get to keep doing it. Do nothing because he didn't kill anybody, and he's being wrongfully accused.
he still had a fan base that was willing to.
And if there is a guy who shot an insurance executive, maybe they should look at the student financial debt crisis, so that way they can talk about actionable change that is not violent.
Donate so much to essentially save his living situation. To me, though, it's weird there weren't more questions raised about.
That's my opinion on my student loans. Sorry, I need to get that out of my system. You know, it's my fucking credit score is so bad right now.
Birdie's knowledge of Cindybear's grooming. Knowing someone who turns out to be a pedo is one thing, but being in the same house with them for months, sleeping in the next room or even in the same bed, that's another issue entirely. There wouldn't have even been a time where Birdie was out of work, so their schedules wouldn't have conflicted that much. He was home the entire time. Around this time, Birdie would get into a call with Queen, Cindy's IRL friend that Birdie had recently met and became close with. They started to become really good friends, and Birdie would eventually stay over at her house for some time. A few days later, Cindy would post another response to the situation, stating that Birdie and others had coerced her to admit that she was a groomer. She responds saying that
whose credit score isn't bad right now? I mean, I guess if you're in Congress, your credit score is going pretty good. I mean, you do get to know about all of the things happening in society before anybody else. But, you know, there's like laws, so that way you can't take advantage of that in advance. Am I right, guys? Isn't it weird that Nancy Pelosi's trade account is actually doing so well? It's almost like she has advance notice on things that are happening with inside the government, allowing her to trade at maximum efficiency, better than some of the best traders on the market. Anyway,
sexual themes she discussed with the kid weren't actually that sexual, which is just a blatant lie, but I mean, how else could you even defend this? This is all for another time though, because this video led up to the fight between Birdie and Cindybear over the cat. Birdie had recently gotten a cat to take care of, but during his fight with Cindybear and Birdie getting away, Cindy apparently stole his cat, according to Birdie. In response, he broke into Cindybear's house after this and left a white hat with the words
I left Cindy's apartment last night, and I have the cat. Wait, I have Squirp with me. Is that the name of the cat? SKQRP? What? How is that pronounced? How is that cat's name pronounced? That's no way that's the cat's name. What did they slam their hand into the keyboard? Yes. Yes. Yeah, but like, how do you say that? Squirp. Okay, squirp. Yerp. Nobody, the minions I'm spawning in my RTS game. Squirp. I left Cindy's apartment last night. I have Squirp with me. Don't worry. Okay, well, Squirp is not a minor, so it's not like Squirp is gonna be groomed. Squirp is a cat. If anything, Squirp is in more danger with you, considering you fucked your ferret. I mean, a cat's only like 4 degrees of separation away from a ferret or something. Okay, like we're moving up the animal kingdom in the fucking phylum structure. You know, man, like. Maybe I feel like the pedophile is a better keeper of a cat than the animal fucker. Diesel, stop! I'm making it's a judgment call. It's a judgment call. Unfortunately, had to leave Stupid behind. Is there another cat called Stupid? Squirp and Stupid? There's no way there's another one. I had to leave Stupid, but yes. Okay. Squirp and Stupid. Wait, why were you taking Squirp there, Birdie? I left a little surprise for her on the couch. I gotta be honest. there's a little bit of aura in leaving the groomer hat on the bed, on the couch, excuse me.
Groom on it. Cindy would then respond to Birdie, saying that the cat wasn't with him or with Birdie, it was with Queen. Cindy was only asking for the cat back because no one else was in the position to take care of it, and legally the cats were in Cindy's name because Birdie didn't want to use his dead name to get them. When he broke into Cindy's house to leave the groom hat, he stole
Why is Toastify whispering now?
the cat he was emotionally tied to and took it with him. Eventually, Queen ended up as the owner of the cat, which was probably the best outcome we got. But Birdie now had to explain himself. He was under fire for posting lies and had possibly given a groomer a W. Birdie went on Twitter
Possibly given a groomer a W.
and explained that the accusation from Cindy were all false and meant to shift the attention away from her. But the snowball was already rolling down the hill, and people were really starting to look into what Birdie had been up to. Days earlier, Birdie had posted art of him dressed as a character from the animator Zontan, known
Actually, it's back with Cindy because it's technically stolen.
Days earlier, Birdie had posted art of him dressed as a character from the animator Zontan.
No. Birdie's posted art of the porn character artist. Oh, brother.
Known for his sexual drawings of underage characters aged up to be adults. Birdie claimed to have no idea who Zontan even was, but that was another lie as seen from this Discord message. Being caught out twice in a number of days isn't a good track record for anyone, and his response to the backlash being pill posting was only further indication of that. Seeing the tides turn against him, Birdie decided to leave the internet, saying, "Okay, I'm sick of being this week's hot juicy drama and having the dehumanization and demonization of myself so widely normalized again. People are scraping the bottom of the barrel for rumors. I'm leaving for a bit. Everyone get your shit together."
I only know Zone because Rebel Taxi made a joke about her in like 2014 or something. Zone has been doing like porn art for like literally over a decade. They're not as dramatic as like Shadbase, which I think is the only other like thing that you're going to be. That's exactly who every other drama creator would compare Zone to, but they're really it's really nothing. Like it's just somebody who makes fucking Newgrounds porn, and they've just been doing it for a long time.
This is just like 2017. Time is a flat circle, but the new claims were nowhere near the bottom of the barrel. After such a storied history,
Yeah, not as much of a degen. Yeah.
so many apologies, so many promises to change that were taken at face
But in commentary, it doesn't matter. If you draw porn at all, it's like a complete non-starter. So
value by Birdie's audience, that being then ripped up in front of their eyes would not go down well. It began with the Little Guy controversy, as people criticized Birdie's interactions with a 15-year-old fan of his known as Little Guy.
Oh no. Oh, not little guys.
Guy was obsessed with Birdie, and Birdie would comment on their posts positively, including ones they made with sexual elements. Birdie knew all too well from first-hand experience what obsession looks like, and was accused of indirectly enabling it by continuing to interact. This seems like a good time to also mention that Birdie would actually reply to people under the age of 16 on a 16+ post he made on his Twitter. You had literally one job, mate. This would spark a mass return of former characters from the Birdie drama, Archival and A-loggers, all coming back to reinvestigate the entire Birdie situation. A ton of new evidence was found about old cases that completely recontextualized everything, especially to an
The
audience
Diesel's own drew porn of aged up underage characters. Oh my god.
that wasn't even that clued in on Birdie's history. Even discussing Birdie's modern day antics didn't bode well for him. It seemed as if Birdie was desperately using the $11,000
Yeah, Zone did the Anka thing, yes. Zone did the Anka meme.
that were raised from like GoFundMe, spending it on moving apartments, getting away from the groomer who
I can't even litigate or have a discussion about like drawn porn, one because my friend is Mishi, right? And then two, because people would be like, well, Diesel's a gooner, he supports everything that's bad, actually.
assaulting him.
But yeah, they do just stream on OF.
At one point, he said he was even starving whilst at someone's house, and a friend got him DoorDash to help out. So
Toxic too, yeah, that's another one.
when he was spotted spending copious amounts of money
And they're both good hard workers and good people, so.
on My Little Pony merch, you can imagine the backlash from that. And the starvation at someone's house? Well, the house he was staying at had a fridge full of food, and Birdie was just a really picky eater. All excuses and bringing up some disorder or the other were falling on deaf ears, especially when he was making fun of issues that he also had. See on Twitter, where he was gossiping about how messy Cindy Bear's room was to make fun of her, but then came in pictures from Queen showing the mess in his room. Remember that one of these people worked 2 jobs, and the other sat in bed all day, drawing and sleeping. By then, a lot of the public opinion turned back against Birdie, after being more favourable to him after his return and the Cindy Bear situation. By now, their goodwill had dried up. The story of Birdie tells a blend of greys that we rarely see at all. It's seeing the real-time story of a kid mistreated by their family but also prone to lash out, becoming a child of the internet and a victim to some awful stuff. But soon he was twisting the abhorrence onto others throughout his life, many of the people he's encountered and his own audience itself. It's uncomfortable because it never should have been broadcast. The fact that a 12-year-old was unmonitored online, having a completely massive career with a dedicated fan base, was always going to end badly. But origin stories and illnesses and disorders only go so far. Everyone has their own issues, but we all have to take responsibility for what we've done, and we do. Birdie has a trail of gross irresponsibility, being malicious and lying. Where do you draw the line between saying he's just a kid and condemning him for being legitimately malicious and manipulative? If I've taken anything away from this video, it's not just an indictment of Birdie. It's better seen as a reflection on much of the animation meme community and its depths. Birdie just happens to be the most severe case of its effects. It still is a place largely absent of parents or adults, a place where these creative kids come to vent about how the world...
Ultimately, it is actually society that is the reflection of this community. For we have allowed children to run rampant online without any presupposed we live in a society. I forget what I was going to say.
has seemingly failed them. The detailed events about their personal lives were only encouraged by kids who could relate, furthering personal publication and vulnerability. It's telling that most of the people who've been personally involved and victimized by Birdie have also turned out to be severely messed up in their own right, and documenting every single one of their actions on top of covering Birdie would double the length of this video. None of this diminishes from Birdie's actions towards them, and it certainly doesn't mean that these people were evil all along. A lot of this just comes down to the victim-turned-abuser cycle, and the animation meme community is an excellently morbid example. Maybe, just maybe, if someone had stepped in when Birdie was still young and recognized the signs of mental
If only we had a robust social infrastructure in order for kids like this to get help, then perhaps they would not be the raped that would become the rapist. If only society was different, but society bad. Sorry, I'm not dogging on Toastify. I think it's a good video that he's done. It's kind of hard to wrap something like this up and like kind of put it in like a neat little bow like that, right? So it's like outside of being like, it's complicated. It's like, it's like difficult, right? Because it's like, if you want to take the like most uncharitable, like fuck it all approach, I don't know. I don't want to be like Mr. Black Pill Andy about something like this. And it's like, oh, you know, fucking fuck it all, throw it all out, right? Nah, this is too stupid. There's nothing to learn here. That's actually really insightful coming from Pi. So, hello, Yen. Hi, gays. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's how you don't really, there's nothing to like really wrap up. It's like, it's all so deranged and outrageous and ridiculous and bananas and just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
The stress he was displaying, things could have turned out better. But missed opportunities don't take away that Birdie has done some abhorrent stuff, and he should be held to account instead of being excused and swept for. His consistent cycle of lying, manipulation, playing the victim, disgusting harassment towards others, his weird interactions with minors, it's all out there. His actions shouldn't be downplayed, but his origins should be a warning light to parents and kids online. His story will continue.
Parents and kids online. I don't think if you respectfully, this is a good video, and I think Toastify did a good job. I had talked to Toastify about how he put this together, and it was not easy, and we put respect on that. But if you are a parent or somebody preparing to be a parent, and you watch this, you're not ready to be a parent. Period. I'm sorry. I don't know how many degrees of separation you need, but like, it's just, I think if you're like, I don't know, if you're like normal, you'll be like, this is the range, I don't care. Like if you're like an average person, right? Because this is so beyond, this is like past the pale, okay? Like like you stare into the dark abyss and the Lovecraftian horror stares back, but this is like you're getting deep and deep and putting your head into the Lovecraftian abyss, right? It's just like beyond, it's beyond like like I can't take anything away from it as like a normal person. I mean, ultimately it's like, it's everything you've always heard, just told to you again. It's just, you know, monitor your kids' interaction online, be a present parent, love your kids, don't abuse them. Like, what the fuck? I mean, Birdie's parents would have needed this video, not gonna lie. I mean, sure, yeah. But it's just hard to say, like, oh, here's the ticket takeaway, right? Here's the big takeaway. I mean, I'm a parent, and yes, it's the range. Every time I see the ACC, I'm like, where the fuck are the parents in the ACC and FCC? The only good thing about the SEC ACC monsters is that the op-eds have co-opted their OCs and making great things out of them. God. So I mentioned this earlier, but somebody was saying that stuff about like, does a NEET vocalize their like thoughts on the internet? But this is this account called JPT Says, which takes translated tweets from Japan, and it's stuff like no romantic experience, got invited to a love hotel by an acquaintance lesbian couple, told we're about to have sex, so just watch from there. Not even allowed to jerk off, forced to watch lesbian sex, and for some reason made me pay the entire love hotel bill. That happened. Oh shit. And the entire account is just filled with tweets translated from Japanese people that use Twitter. And it's all filled with like the most outrageous shit ever. Oh, here's one about them putting the Stellar Blade character in Nikkei. What is the ratio that waist to hips? Eve, you're acting as a maternal weapon. The design of her hips, she is fully prepared to destroy me. That gaze is also dangerous. Everyone back off. This is a crime against chastity. Eve needs maximum correction. This guy was kind of cooking, not gonna lie. It's kind of calling her a maternal weapon is absolutely fucking hilarious. Okay. What is this? Wow, hold on, I've just been sent something. Can someone explain to me the phenomena of this personality type? Someone who claims to be able to channel God like entities?
Can someone explain to me the phenomenon of this personality type?
I am great.
It seems that in my lifetime, a new type of enlightened...
Okay, first of all, the guy talking in this short is like, he has like TikTok voice disease where he sounds like a, I hate his voice.
Individual has emerged. Someone who claims to be able to channel godlike entities.
Feel the energy of the blue avians.
Dude, this lady is a creature of Yakub. Holy shit. She got the A10 eyes, bro. She got the fucking white devil physiognomy going on.
And aliens from other dimensions.
Here are 3 signs that you might be an Arcturian starseed.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
They appear to be and present themselves as being extremely spiritual.
Listen, let's not... Okay, this TikTok is stupid because this is just what happens and has happened to people from white Protestant neighborhoods that just take ayahuasca one time when they go to take a trip in Ibiza, okay? All right, this is just what happens to that kind of white person.
Or in touch with otherworldly phenomena.
Yes, we are here.
They're not in touch with anything, okay? They're one of 3 things. They're either doing drugs, a grifter, or mentally ill. There is no in between. And sometimes those 3 things can overlap.
We are here. We are very happy to be.
I need to know the origin of some of these videos because I would... Okay, unironically, this is one of my like autistic fixations. I love shit like this. Please, if you guys come across this shit in the wild, please recommend it to me in the Discord server. There's a whole thread in our forum section where you could just send these videos to me. I would love to react to more of them.
Yeah, yes, indeed, dear one. Yes, we are here.
But what's really...
The little guy's link should work now, by the way. The special Discord link. I set it up so it could work. I'll check right now, though, to see if it does. Yeah, it does work. I will... Let me make sure that I did it right. Discord.gg Little Guys Inc. There we go.
Going on here? Are these people part of a new spiritual revolution?
They're not part of a new spiritual revolution. This has been going on since the 60s, okay? Did we just, like, wake up? Did everybody just, like, come out of, like, the hole they were living in? That guy does look like an elf, though, not gonna lie.
Or...
Dude, people can't just be a Trekkie anymore. They gotta, like, turn it into, like, a lifestyle. Alright? Just have a fucking Klingon wedding and move on with your life.
Is it simply an identity where people display themselves on social media as spiritually enlightened?
Also, isn't the girl with the dreads that's like a singer, like the daughter of like a Raytheon executive or something?
I'm
a starseed. I'm a starseed.
Please, I need more, I need to see more Starseed children. I need to do a Starseed stream, okay? Diesel needs his looking at mentally ill people stream, and I need to see more.
Can living like these people suggest actually make your life?
No, it can't make your life better, okay? These are people gentrifying, fucking living in the rainforest. The fucking indigo children, yeah. Oh my god.
Bruh.
Hold on, what is this?
If y'all keep coming to my live saying fake chains, I'ma do something. For real, my real toe, diamond on my neck, test on my body, mother.
Okay, so far I got bruh. Y'all keep coming into my live and saying fake chains. I'm going to do something for real. Hey, real talk, diamond on my neck, tats on my body. Brrr. What? Brrr. Yeah, is that correct?
Both Fauci and I did a Leadhead Puppy Girl stream. I dated one of these kinds of people when I lived in San Francisco. It was 2014. Oh my god. What do we call these wind monkeys? That's crazy. No, they need to have like a funny name, okay? It can't just be druggies that think they spoke to cosmic entities. That is what they are, but we want to encourage their delusion, okay? That's really funny. That was good. That was good. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sending that to me, Fauci. Space Wiggers. Space Wiggers is they are though when you think about it. God. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. My space, my star seeds. Oh God, we did it in good time. Good time. But get out of here, you astronauts. The you astral rejects is good.